Do you feel like you could benefit from boosting your own creativity and you feel creatively blocked and uninspired? This can especially happen once the year is coming to an end and we start to look at our results, and the mood can go really down if we feel like we haven't done enough, or we haven't created enough that what we planned. Today I'm going to share with you one of the methods that's going to have a quick effect on you, and you're going to experience some sort of breakthrough, and you're going to release whatever is holding you back in your creative work. Normally, I notice that in more formal education, we are always encouraged to look externally for inspiration and to sort of get some design or art references in order to create. We all know that sometimes we are not in the mood to create, and there might be some things happening. Maybe you are in an environment which is really not pleasant and you simply cannot get inspired because everything around you is bad. And what do you do in this kind of situation? Well, what I have learned from my personal experience through different kind of meditation workshops and different kind of visualization practices is that naturally we all possess creative aspects, and creative flow does exist within us, and it's down to us to access it. And with this method and technique that I'm going to show you, it's a quick way to access your own creativity and release blocks which are holding you back. So for this exercise, you're going to need some good quality painting paper, some watercolors or acrylics, and a good thick brush. You're also going to need another piece of paper to make some notes and a pen. So to start with, for this technique, you're going to have to sit down in a quiet place where no one is going to disturb you, and you're going to close your eyes. You're going to breathe in a couple of times, and with closed eyes, you're going to think, what is holding you back? What is that not letting your creativity flow easily? And as soon as you notice some kind of visuals coming into your mind's eye, some kind of shapes or colors, it can be very abstract, it can be just a sensation, you're going to open your eyes. You're not going to stay in that state for too long because your brain is going to start overthinking and rationalize whatever that sensation or feeling that you had, okay? So you're going to take your brush, and now I'm gonna stop this video and I'm gonna make a demonstration for you how the whole process of painting is gonna look. Just please remember, do not stay in that state for too long. As soon as you notice any kind of visual in your mind, or color, or an object, or a shape, or a mark, or a feeling, you're gonna open your eyes. So I'm gonna demonstrate to you what you do next after you opened your eyes and you're ready to paint. You're gonna have a white piece of paper, not without any marks. This is just something I was experimenting with earlier, and I don't want to waste the paper. So you're gonna take whatever color feels right to the sensation you had or the visual you saw, whatever you feel connected naturally. You're not gonna think why you're taking this color, okay? Just be spontaneous and select whatever color feels right in that moment. And then you're gonna place your brush on the paper and you're gonna follow your hand, okay? You're not gonna draw or paint something that's, very precise, or you're not gonna try to illustrate something around you. If you saw something very clearly in your visualization, you can still make, the sort of aspect or illustration of that thing quite abstract. So you're just gonna follow your hand, whatever it wants you to do. You're basically gonna be exploring that sensation or visual that you had. It's a bit like children, they paint and they don't think why they're painting what they're painting. It can be just marks, or lines, or I don't know, dots. It doesn't have to mean anything. You're just exploring your flow of your hand, yeah? And obviously the color, like how you're connecting to the color, and I don't know, as I said, I'm not gonna try to rationalize or overthink or make any sense of whatever is that I'm painting. All right. So once you feel like, okay, now I just released whatever I had in my mind's eye, and there's nothing else for me to add. It doesn't have to be as dense or as much as I just painted. It could be literally one little mark, you know. It could be like, okay, I just want to do like a circle, you know, or a mark, or you know, just like some kind of lines, and that's it. I don't want to add any more color, or there's no right or wrong process in this technique. So basically, when you feel like you're done with this, you're gonna take another piece of paper and a pen, and you're gonna gaze into your painting, and whatever comes into your mind, like it's the same technique, right? So whatever comes to your mind straight away, you're gonna write words. You're not gonna try to rationalize or describe too much, or you know, be really like, oh, I have to make meaning out of this. This is not what I want you to do. So I'm looking at my painting, and my first, let's say, word comes like mess, you know. So I'm gonna write it down. Mess, chaos, you know, density, multicolors, lines, what else comes into my mind? Maybe gradient. I also have a thing like dots, marks. What else comes to my mind? Maybe water, transparency, and so on. So you can keep on writing words as long as you feel like they're flowing into your mind. But again, I'm not trying to describe this or make any meaning out of it. I'm simply writing whatever words come into my mind, like I just did here, you know. You can write as many words as you want, okay? So as soon as you feel like you're finished with that part, you're gonna take another piece of paper, or just, you know, make a separate section where you're gonna write down new words. And now you're gonna do a bit more connecting. So I have a list of words here: mess, chaos, density, lines, gradient, whatever. And I'm gonna try to think, how are they connecting to each other? So I already can see mess and chaos connected. Density for me is also feels, you know, something is heavy, so I think it could belong to the same group. Now something like lines here or dots, I feel like they're completely the opposites, you know. And then marks could be perhaps, you know, closer to the dots, so I'm gonna group them more. Water, I feel like water is quite fluid, so maybe it's connecting to the marks. And transparency, again, water is transparent, so I'm gonna keep on connecting. And I didn't write a very long list here just for this demonstration, so I don't have too many words to connect with, but if you have more words, it's gonna be better. So now once I connected these words into groups, I'm gonna start rewriting them. So mess, chaos, density, let's say. And then I've got dots, marks, water, transparency, into another group. And this, as I said, this is quite short. Maybe gradient will belong to this one too. And multicolors, I believe that one could go to this group. And once you kind of group them together, your rational thinking is on now. And you're gonna start making some kind of sense out of these groups. So what is this group could represent to me? Mess, chaos, and density. Maybe for me it could mean that, you know, my mind is overburdened. You know, maybe there's some kind of sensation of heaviness in my chest, you know. I'm just making this up completely, you know. Whatever comes into my mind, I'm just like writing it down. I'm not overthinking, you know. Maybe chaos represents for me like lack of structure in my life. That could mean maybe no routine or no stability, you know? So this is just an example of, I started with writing down these random words, which, do not mean the same thing like this group. The next group here, I feel like it has a very different feeling to it. It feels to me much more feminine, much more flowy, because I had all these words like water and dots, and normally a circle, a dot represents feminine aspects of the body, so that's like what comes into my mind. And water for me feels maybe like healthy. Multicolors reminds me of like a rainbow, so that goes into like maybe good emotions, or some sort of feeling of happiness, So you can see already how different these two groups are. Like one is representing chaos and this density and burden and instability, and other group is representing totally different thing of like happiness and flow and health and femininity. And then if I look at this painting that we saw earlier, you can see this aspect of happiness, for example, this orange color, or this brighter colors, this marks, and then the water and transparency, and then you definitely see this lines and things layered on top of it, and it's almost blocking it. So I have divided my list of words into two groups. You could divide it to even more, or you could have just one group, and you'll notice like, oh my god, all my words are completely interconnected, and it kind of starting to make sense. So from these two groups, I am starting to think about some kind of conclusion, Maybe perhaps that I need more stability in my life in order to be more creative. And maybe I have too many burdens that's slowing me down. I need to look into my burdens. Maybe the routine is an issue. Maybe I need more routine to get more creative, which, could be the opposite for some other people. Other people prefer no routine. And maybe here, because we were talking that this exercise is for releasing something, I don't feel like there's something feminine to release. I think like it's more like to do that I feel blocked and I'm not able to experience this feminine flow, or happy rainbows, and that it's not flowing for me. And that's basically just showing that I want this. My spirit and my subconsciousness is giving me messages of things that I really need as an artist, and these are the things that are holding me back. Okay, so this was just like a demonstration of a potential, outcome of your painting, and no two people are gonna have exactly the same painting or lists. So please bear in mind that this is just an example, and I really want you to have your own painting and your own list of words, and do not copy this. This is like very, very personal, and this was purely for demonstration, and it might not even reflect what I really, I'm really experiencing, because I didn't do the meditation or visualization before I made this painting. So I'm gonna talk more in detail once I stop this video. Okay guys, so after you finish writing your groups of words that we just talked about, I hope you made some kind of conclusions, and the whole point of this work is to have your own analytical reference of it. You're not going to show these words to someone else and ask for their opinion. You're going to work directly with your own consciousness and your own subconsciousness. Now, this exercise is great because you're going to learn how to directly connect to your feelings, okay, to visuals and images that exist within your own mind and your own psyche and your own subconsciousness. The more you're going to practice these exercises, the quicker you're going to be at accessing them, and your analytical skills are going to get better. So you're going to get better at identifying what are those blocks, and then that way you're going to release them quicker too. You might think after doing this exercise it doesn't make any sense to you at all, and that's okay. This is just your first time doing it. So don't expect that you're suddenly going to make any sense out of these words you made, and you're going to know exactly what you released. The thing that you just done, you triggered your subconsciousness, and your subconsciousness knows that you are trying to access it and you're trying to make a difference to your own thinking and your own conscious life, okay? That you are trying to release something what's holding you back. Your subconsciousness is going to start sending you signals when you're asleep and when you are in your conscious state. At the beginning, you might not understand what the signals are, but basically the more you work with your subconsciousness, the more conscious thoughts you're going to have about it, okay? This sounds a bit crazy, but this is how it works. And this is not something I came up with, but there are a lot of psychologists who wrote about it, and this is just a technique that I basically synthesized a few different techniques together into one. So I hope you're gonna have some kind of interesting experience with this, and you're gonna release at least a small part that's holding you back from being more creative and inspired. You can practice this technique every day. I wouldn't recommend practicing it more than once a day. You can also keep a diary and document this journey, especially after you finished this exercise. Write down whatever you have observed in the process. It's not just about the outcome, it's about the actual process, how you felt while you were painting or writing, were there any feelings coming to the surface. So I hope, this was helpful for you, and if you feel like you would like to learn more techniques which are not very usual or standard, click the link on my post and you can get a free PDF book where I'm sharing with you 10 different techniques. So let me know if you have any more questions and keep in touch.